back at 2021. So today marks almost a year to the day of us announcing we're going fully virtual, and Sebastian will be sort of taking a look at that and comparing it with what we were doing just before. We'll then have a quick look at sort of the impact COVID has had on students around the world, and as well as the universities. Next, we'll move on to why we believe the future is virtual. And then, quite excitingly, we're going to be introducing some of FPP's new features, which includes our new matching system, the new app, and then also portable booths and how you'll be able to take your booths wherever you might be going. And then finally, finishing up with how or what you should look for when you're selecting your virtual partners. So that's great. I'm seeing quite a few hellos coming in, Eastern Canada, from Norway, from Warwick in the UK. So people from all over by the looks of things, which is great. Somebody from Brazil. So hello and welcome everybody. And I'll pass you over now to Sebastian.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Jack. It's a pleasure and it's an honor to be with you today. Thank you for joining us. And Vincent, if you can bring in the presentation, the first slide. I will start briefly by saying, Julia, if you can get the presentation.
Me?
Yeah.
But I thought you're okay. So
yeah, click there, present.
Just a second. Okay.
So just while we're working this out, I'm seeing some more messages. We've got somebody joining from Hungary. Welcome. We have Bruna from Education New Zealand in Brazil. Marina from Milan. Andres joining from Medellin in Colombia. There's a very wide audience today. As you might be able to tell, we didn't quite rehearse this, so just bear with us a moment while we get things ironed out a little bit here, but we'll kick things off in just a moment.
Okay. Do you see my screen, Sebastian? Can you bring the presentation from your end?
Yeah, should we, Vincent, if you can bring it in, and we're ready here. So it's not should be my screen, Vincent. Sorry. There we go. Here we have the presentation. And anyway, as Jack said, we were going to start with a very brief message on saying why we're here today, February the 9th, and not any other day. And basically, that's because today we have the anniversary of being 1 year 100% virtual, at least announcing it officially. Of course, we came to this decision before that, but Julia is going to cover this a little bit more, but just marking the date that today it's exactly 1 year since we officially announced that we were going 100% virtual. And it's easy to connect the dots looking backwards, but at that time when we decided this, it was, of course, a much more conscious decision. So going into this, I just wanted to compare a few numbers and just raw data on two very different years, 2019 and 2021, that really saw a big difference between the number of, especially the number of cities and countries we were able to reach. Still, we were able to reach a very large number of students, but a much larger number of high schools, a much larger number of cities, a much larger number of countries, given on all the benefits that we have on this virtual environment. Vincent, I think you took out my presentation. Sorry, can you go back to it?
We were just seeing a black screen of yours, Sebastian, so we tried mine, and we've now got some inverted colors. We're having some technical difficulties today.
Then just remove the presentation, please, because I was seeing it correctly on my end here. But anyway, so comparing the numbers from both years, it's clearly a very big difference in the reach that we have had, and also a very big difference in the number of students that we have been able to reach during this last year, where we have gone 100% virtual. The future, as we see it, is virtual. Julia's going to speak a little bit more about this, but also the future needs to be sustainable. And a big difference is the impact that we're having on the environment with this transition from leaving. Just imagine a flight, for example, New York to Sao Paulo, that was 2 tons of carbon footprint in the environment, and now we're just almost on 10,000 trees being planted based on what we have done through virtual events. So we're converting that big mountains of boxes and brochures and travel into new forests around the world. So now, yes, Julie, if you want to share your screen and continue the presentation from your side, that's all for me. We'll be back with me at the end now, the important part with Julio.
So do you guys see my screen? Can you let me know?
No, not yet.
No? Okay. Let me try again. We're going to get there. You see it now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, first of all, thank everyone here. We have many people watching this. Thank you so much. I know you guys are busy. You had other things to do, and you decided to come here and see what FPP has to say, right? So thank you very much. For those who don't know me, let me give you a quick introduction. I've been in this industry for a long time. I was myself an exchange student in 1987. I lived in London for 3 years studying. Then I decided to have my own business because I didn't know what to do. I started a language school, and then that language school became an agency. I was an agent for a long time. And then 1997, I decided to start this company. If you know, if you remember, 1997 is a long time ago, but it was the beginning of the internet, right? I actually have a picture here that I'd like to share with you. It's funny. Where people thought, come on, internet is just a fad, right? It's just going to be passing and nothing's going to happen. And we know what happened, right? We've been through internet 1.0, which was basically like a democratization of information, but you wouldn't interact with that. And then we went through the internet 2.0, and we started to interact with websites. We started buying things. We went social. And then now we are experiencing the beginning of internet 3.0, the web 3.0, which is giving us the ownership of things, right? With blockchains and everything. So it's been many years trying to survive and be useful to universities that end up paying us with dollars, with pounds, and being useful for students who pay us with their time. And experiencing the whole thing, the whole journey. And as Sebastian was saying, we decided with the COVID that impacted, all of us, I'm sure impacted your universities, your business, right? Impacted our company and so many other companies, and impacted students as well. Remember last year, students didn't know if they could study. Would the borders be open? Would that be closed? Would they get a visa? Would they not get a visa? So it was very difficult to plan. So it turns out many students, 2020, 2021, that were planning to study and had to put off their plans, right? So last year was a very challenging year for everyone, and including us. In order to bring more students, we had to impact more students, and which is very costly as a company. And but the world in with this decision, with the decision of moving ahead, oops, okay, and going virtual, like having our, it's not about going virtual, it's the way we do, we now we do things virtual. My point here is that it's very simple. Okay, let's use Zoom or let's rent platform. It's not the same thing. Yeah, organizing an event online takes a lot of preparation, takes a lot of expertise. But we were very fortunate to have a platform, a software, in 2020 when we saw, oh my God, what are we going to do? Let's, are we going to close the company? We no events at all, what to do? And I think I'm very proud of my team. We were very quick to switch from in-person to online. And after seeing how amazing, how the online, well done, of course, with a good platform, but how that can be so beneficial for everyone, for students in universities, that gave us the confidence to announce over a year ago that we would be going online, for the reason, not because we don't know how to do events in person. We know, we did events in person for 20 years. So we know all about organizing in-person events. But we do this because we want the best for everyone. And we see all the benefits. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it because, our team has been discussing this. I don't want to take your time, but I want to touch the most important things in my opinion, right? And but that gave us the confidence to say that's the way to go. And again, we were fortunate because we had our own software. We decided to invest, and that was quite expensive, really, really, really expensive. But we decided to do that 4 years earlier, 5 years earlier, because, we thought, who knows what the future holds? Maybe, everything is going online. Why don't we have a platform, a software that we can do things online? And when COVID hit, we were all prepared. We had our own software. So we didn't have to go rent and then mark up price to exist, right? We were able, by having our own software, we are able to customize the way we like. We are able to hear what our clients, our users, who are universities and students, what they say and what we can do to improve that. And we are constantly working on that. So we were fortunate to have that and to have the experience putting out an online event. So that was amazing. We were very fortunate. And I think I would say we were smart to switch very fast. So again, I'm going to go ahead and say a few things just very quickly before I'm very excited here. Please, I'm a very shy person, but when I talk about my baby, I get carried away, right? So so if I end up talking and you don't get what I'm saying, it's not your fault, it's my fault. Okay, because I end up saying a lot of things. And your questions are going to be super, super, super welcome. Okay, I would love to answer your questions if you have any questions in the end. If you don't agree with me, fair enough. Let's talk about it. Okay, please, if you think differently, please let me know, and then I can tell you what I think, and it's super okay. Right? So, this is a very quick comparison, 2019, 2021. FPP was probably one of the main in-person fair organizers. And we did a lot of events, a lot. But from what you see, the numbers, even though we had fewer events online, but see the reach that the online allows us, like number of high schools, almost 3 times. Number of countries, oh my God, this is almost 8 times more countries. And then number of cities, can't even compare, right? 55 with 2,000. That's the power of the online events. And then number of booths, we did end up having more booths in 2021. Number of visitors, we had some more visitors, but last year, it's not a fair comparison in this regard because it was very difficult to get students to come to events because they say, what am I going to do there? This COVID is taking place. Why am I going to attend an event? Right? So that was our marketing team did a great job, and we ended up having to spend so much more, almost 3 times more of our budget to make sure the events were good enough, right? But it's part of existing. Then number of over, and then I think this is very, very important in our opinion, how much carbon, how sustainable an online event is. And we see this as not only, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but sustainability is here to stay, right? And if you don't do that because you really don't care about the planet, but people should do for their businesses, right? We care about the planet, and we think we're doing the right thing. And anyway, let's go ahead. So, oops. I'm gonna go here. Jack, I think, or somebody else. I'm gonna skip this slide here, guys. But this mainly talks about COVID affected. This, it's not news, right? Everybody, maybe, I think we are all sick and tired of COVID, right? But this is here to stay. Everybody knows it affects more one country, perhaps more than the other, but it affects everyone in general, right? And every businesses and everyone needs to adapt to this, right? It's a new music that you need to learn how to dance, right? So universities are adapting, businesses are adapting, users, students, everyone is adapting. People are going more online. People don't want to go back to offices. They like working remote. How this has impacted our social life, our business lives, and everything. And this is going to be here and stay. I'm not an expert on COVID, and I don't want to be, but I think this is something that it's one more variable in our lives that we have to deal with. And yes, so this picture here, I just wanted to make a point very quickly why we are comfortable and confident with what we see ahead of us. We think that this change in person to online was going to happen anyway. That's why we built a platform 4 or 5 years ago, right? 6 years ago. If we didn't think that was going to be useful, why would spend so much on that, right? So, but what we think is that COVID simply accelerated this trend, right? And even though I know everyone is looking forward to, going to in-person everything, right? And we started going to restaurants and everything. We want to oh, let's go to in-person events, because in-person events, I did this for so many years. Yes, that's right. But we are confident that the people's head are, and I'm talking more about students here, right? Has changed. People have seen that they can work from home and have the same and work as well, maybe even better, because they save time. Or people can attend events online. Airline companies already know they expect to have at least 20% less passengers within the next 10 years. And it's a fact because now there's Zoom. I can have a meeting. It's so easy to have a meeting. I go to Google Meet, I go to Zoom, and I have a meeting, right? So that's why it really makes us comfortable. And when we say that online events are the future, and you need to understand that if you talk about anything, doctors, engineers, or in-person events, online events, they're all types. There are some that know what they're doing, and some that they would like to do something good, but they don't know how to, or some that want to take advantage of us, right? So we need to do our due diligence to see which company works. We are not saying that just because it's online, it's going to be better. No, we're not saying that. It's difficult to do events, but I'm going to point out some very quickly some of the benefits, the main reasons, right? There are many reasons out there. I just named 4 here, okay? Why we are confident with that decision. And we know some events are gonna be there, right? And we think that the bread and butter, okay, I'm going to recruit from everywhere, right? This is going to be online with good companies, right? That you trust. And then some in-person events are going to be there. Oh, networking events, or go to NAFSA, EIE, or some specific networking event. It's going to be there. Some trips are going to be there. But we don't think that people need to be out 200 days a year, 300 days a year on the road. That's what we think, and the reasons are, number one, online events, we can have a better use of technology, and I'm going to show you some things that we are doing. And I'm not saying that using a platform is enough technology. No, it's far from being enough, right? At the end of the day, any company and us, we need to be useful. If we're not useful for universities, and if we are not useful for students, there's no reason for us to exist. Steve Jobs used to say, your clients will approve or disapprove your service with their wallet. At the end of the day, if we are not useful, I know you probably, if you have worked with us, you know we work hard. We are not perfect, far from that. But we always want to be better tomorrow than today, right? That's our philosophy. But we are not perfect. But you see that we try our best. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit more here. Let me just use an example of use of technology. We using technology, and we are launching our matching system, and I'm going to show you very quickly. This is a better use of technology. There's so much more. I'm going to be showing more things, but this is just an example. Why is this good? Okay, because you don't depend on luck. When you are in an in-person event, what happens? You have your booth, your tables, right? And if you have a good brand, you have more people at your booth. If you're not really known, if your brand is not as good as some others, you're not going to have so many people coming to your booth, right? Isn't that right? So then you lose the opportunity to talk to people that your program would be great, but because you don't have the brand, they don't show up in your booth. Or because you say, okay, maybe I'm next door to someone that has a lot of students and I can try to grab some students, but this is random. This is luck. How do you know that person wants what you have? Isn't it better to try to get to your way people that want what you offer? I give an example. Like if I sell chocolate and somebody wants coffee and comes to my shop, and it's going to be very hard for me to sell chocolate because the person wants coffee. The person is looking for coffee, right? But if somebody comes to my shop and wants and is looking for chocolate, and that's what I have, my chances are higher to convert. So students, when they go into the platform, they see, oh, Colorado State University, I matched 97%, never heard of it. You know what? Let me see why I'm matching. Why? What's that? And this will give Colorado State University a higher chance to convert that student. Otherwise, you depend on luck. Maybe people come to your booth and they don't really want what you have. And so it's going to be really hard. So this is a better use of technology, and I'm going to be talking more about that. Another reason is convenience. And I give you a very quick example. Imagine we have an in-person event with 10 universities. And then on the same day, you have an online event with exactly the same universities, both in person, both in person and virtual, the same universities, no difference. Okay, then students today, how they think today, they have the choice. Am I going to drive to this place? I should take an umbrella because it might rain or something. Am I going to go there and then go to the reception, register, go inside, and pay an Uber if I don't want to drive, or if I drive, I have to pay parking. I need to go and there might be many people. I don't think there would be many people anymore. But anyway, imagine the situation. And they can talk to all same universities, the same length of time, from their living room with a cup of coffee. We think students and parents will prefer to do it from home. It's more convenient, especially those that the wealthiest families. They don't want to go to a place like this and crowded place. They prefer to be. That's what we think. Right. And that's what we have seen. We've been already getting information on other in-person events. They're very slow. But again, it's not about slow or busy. It's about, are students that I can convert or not. Right. But then the other reason is the cost. I think the cost, I put it in red because I think it makes so much difference. I talked to universities, and the information I got is that out of their budget, in 2000, before, when everybody traveled everywhere, they came to our events and so on, they would have a budget out of 100%, 60% they gave to American Airlines, United Airlines, British Airlines, Sheraton, Hilton, nothing to do with the event. And then only 40% of their budget was actually to pay brochures and to pay fees. So now imagine, we're not talking about incidentals. We're not talking about American Airlines. We're not talking about Hilton. And do we really need to be in person? Question to ask ourselves. Maybe an in-person event, maybe it's still like, oh, but it's nice. I can see the person in front of me. Well, virtually, you can also give them a call, right? But do you really want to pay 3 times more? I don't know spend like so many thousands of dollars more to sit in front of the student. Would that make that kind of difference? I think we can do that. I'm giving you a presentation now, but this is not the fair, right? The fair, this is kind of a Zoom thing, right? Where I talk and you listen. There's no engagement. An event has to have engagement, right? So when you come to an event and you get, I'm going to download my leads, they're not just emails and names. Many of them, you had the opportunity to leave an impression. So that is more valuable than just an email of somebody that you never spoke with, that never had a chance to interact with you, right? But the cost is huge. The difference is huge. FPP would invoice so much more money before. Yes. Okay, but why we decide? Because we think this is the future. We want the best. So why are we going to remain on something that we don't believe is the best thing? Right? For both, and I'm going to be very honest here. Students come first, universities come second. Why? Because we need students in order to have universities, right? So it's very important. And students, they have many choices today, right? So that's why we are constantly bringing innovations, and I'm going to be talking more about this in just a second. But anyway, the cost for me, and also I'm not an economist, but what we hear is that we are going to have a recession. Recession is coming either this year or next year. What happens during recession? Budgets get tighter, right? Students, everybody's. So again, this comes into a place where you can save really a lot of money. You can do your, bread and butter online like this with a company that like us, or that I'm sure there are other companies out there, good ones that you can trust. But and then you have a lot of budget left to do other things, to try. I'm going to try to do a social network, or I'm going to attend these events and establish different partnerships. I don't know. Or maybe you can come up with some strategic scholarships. I don't know. It's your call there. What we want is to give you, to be useful, to give you, to bring students so you can talk to, and always work on the quality of students, because it's better than quantity. Sometimes as a company say, oh my God, we need to bring thousands and thousands. But we need to, here in this company, we need to we always think, how can we increase the number of quality? Because in an event, it's very easy to bring thousands of students. It's very easy and inexpensive, right? But to bring better students is more expensive. So we've always been like this. We choose to spend more, but have better quality. And this is constantly and another reason why we are doing, we are always innovating. And sustainability, I'm going to be very brief. I mean, the world is going this way. That's why Tesla is up nonstop. And the world is, several countries just want to work with companies that are sustainable. And very, very, I'm not talking about all the planes and all the trips and all the things that we do when we go in person, but I'm going to talk about just about the brochures. Almost 100% of the brochures that we print go to trash. Within a year time, goes to trash. So online people, we are saving. We're more sustainable. We're saving trees. FPP, came up with the idea, okay, let's work with this company and we plant 1 tree per booth. Okay, that's great, but we want more. Now we are working with a company called South Pole, because we want to be carbon neutral as a company, and all the events to be carbon neutral. So we are going through this process. It's going to take 2 to 3 months, because they analyze everything that we do. And then there will be a charge that we need to pay. And that the payment goes to, several different projects in the world. And that's how we compensate the little carbon footprint that we still, put out. So here, I'm going to share some images with you. And I'm going to be a little bit, I just want to show you more about, I'm not going to be very specific, but I'm going to give you a better idea about what we're doing and why we're doing the matching, right? First of all, the concept of the matching is optimize time for students and for universities. Remember, we work with students and universities. These are the two targets that we want to be useful. And students, they can find information everywhere. They can go to Google and find information, right? But the problem, what's the problem the students have today? The problem is there's so many options out there. I don't know if I go to, like, they might think, I want to study, I don't know, I want to study English, or I want to study my post-grad course, I want to study undergrad, whatever. But I don't know if I go to Canada or to the UK or to Australia, to the US, right? And how many options are there? There are lots of options, right? So it takes time to really research. So nobody wants to make the bad decision, right? When you have a lot of choices, you need to, which one is the best? Every university say they have the best professors. Every university says they have great location and great campuses, right? Every university says so many things. So how to choose, right? So it's hard. So the matching system is here to help students save time. And then here we are giving something that has value for students. We are making their life easier. So instead of researching thousands of universities or all the exhibitors in an event, they tell us their preferences. You guys tell us what you offer, and our algorithms will do the magic and say, hey, here you go, right? These are according to your preferences. It's option, it's up to you, but according to your unique preferences, here are the ones we recommend you talk first. So instead of researching 100 exhibitors, here you go. There are 10, 15 here that, could be the one. So we are saving them time. And this way, we are giving them some benefit. Then for universities, how the matching system helps universities? Well, the example I gave you, if I sell chocolate, I want people that are looking for chocolate primarily. I want those, right? Because if I talk to those, the chances for me to convert is high. I don't know. It's, it depends on many factors, but at least you're talking to someone that has a higher chance to like what you have, right? So I'm going to I'm taking more time than I wanted. And I'm gonna just share my screen with you just to give you very quickly, basically when students, that our student facing brand is the student world, right? And you see that the student world has over 2.2 million followers on Facebook, almost 500,000 on Instagram, and then we have YouTube. So we are constantly working with them because they are extremely important. We need to help them, right? So basically, when we promote an event, they're going to be, they provide us with some information, right? This is very sensitive. We need to be very careful. The more questions we ask, the more people decide not to register. So it's a problem. It starts to be much more difficult to get students out of that. So we are always careful, but we decided to go ahead with this and ask them many questions, right? So this is kind of, what we are doing is like a quiz, right? And they start answering some questions, what they are looking for, languages they want to study. Of course, this is just image, because if you click on something, you might have different questions. But here we basically try to understand what are their preferences, what are they looking for, right? And of course, all of this information will be available to you after the event on students that come to your booth, right? So basically, by getting this information, we are able to provide the matching. And this, of course, this is not going to be done. It's going to be done and that's it. We are going to keep researching, getting feedback to improve this, because our goal is to be useful. If you're not useful, you don't approve us with your wallet. That's how we, and then a company doesn't exist. Right? So we work in this company to be useful for both sides, and I'm showing you exactly, giving you an idea. So at the end, we students will see the ones that match with them the most, right? And we give the suggestion. Of course, they have access to every single university. They have access, but we recommend, because we want them first to go to visit the ones they match the most, because it's going to be better for universities and better for them. Okay. And when they open one, when they click on any of the universities before the event, this is before they register, boom, they get that, right? We show them, we show, I think I put the image in the presentation, but they have access to your information, everything that we asked. I know when we ask you to provide information, okay, but it's once only you do that, okay? So please, without your information, we cannot help you as much as we want, right? So that's why sometimes we say, please respond these new questions, because we want to inform the students of everything, because we want them to do a homework before the event. So when they get to the event, boom, they already know the answers. They want to ask you, right? We do our best for students when they go to the event. We don't want them to wander around. We want them to have researched before. Of course, it's their call, okay? But if they research your school with all the information you provide us with before, then they will have the time to ask the questions that matter to them, and it's going to be a better use of time. But again, it's their call, right? But that's what this is about, the matching that I wanted to show you. And again, if you have any questions, I can answer later on. So the matching, when is the matching going to be ready? The match is going to be ready very soon. We are working extremely as fast as we can to get the matching ready for the European events, for the day of the event, not before. But once it's ready, then it's going to be ready for every student that registers. So I'm sure I'm 100% sure the matching is going to be ready in February. I'm doing my best to get the matching ready for the February 16th. Okay. But then once it's ready, it's going to be there for everything that we do. And another thing that we are doing, we are going to launch this semester, is our new app. Again, we want to be useful. That's the whole purpose. We want to be useful for universities, and we want to be useful for students, right? So basically, what is the app, and how is this going to be useful for universities? How is this going to be useful for students? Number one, the app is going to extend the life of the events. When you attend an event anywhere, including with us, so you are paying for 3 hours of an event, right? For 4 hours of an event. Well, the app is going to extend this life to a year. And the app is going to be connected to the platform. How? Well, every student that you meet on doing that goes into your booth are going to be in the app connected to you. But why is this good, in our opinion? Number one, and I'm going to show you here. Number one is that I know you do follow-ups, right? And most of the time your follow-ups are emails. But what's your opening rate? So with the app, which you can continue sending emails, right? But usually opening rate is very low, 5%. How about the 95% that don't get to see your email, don't get to open it, right? So with the app, every student will have everything in, of course, the app is going to be in their hand, on their mobile, right? And they will be seeing all the posts and every communication for all the universities they connect with. So they can continue talking with you in a way that you can find all of them, right? But how does that work? You have to create profiles again, all the information. Oh my God, no. The database is centered. So you only do things in a hub, and the app uses everything that you have in the app. So you probably You will have an account if you have attended an FPP event. Okay, you have an account, and the app will help you do all the posts. The app will allow you to do everything you do in the fair, to interact with students, to engage with the students via email, via video calls. Yes, students can make appointments after the fair. I don't know, they talk to their parent and they say, hey, Dad, I like this one. And then they might like to make an appointment through the app. You don't need Zoom. We have our own Zoom here, right? Our own technology. So the students, they can schedule appointment. And when you see an appointment from a student, you can say, decline and say, please send me an email, or you can accept. And you always have the matching is going to be visible all over the app. So every student here in the app, you know how much you match with them. And of course, not only the students that you meet, thousands and thousands of other students that are going to be invited to join the app are going to be there, and you'll be able to network with them. Oh, yeah, there is some payments for that if you want, right? And then there would be a charge. Oh, I want to connect with the students because they match with me 90%. Great. Okay, you connect with them. Then you can have all the information on the student. You can talk to students, make appointments, everything. But basically, there is an appointment system. You can talk to the students. You can post. You can keep posting. So every student will be able to see your posts, right? And you'll be able to have your own representative. The system is smart. You can have different reps from your university, and the reps can say the territories they take care of. So the app is smart enough. If a student is from Brazil, that student sending a communication or a networking request will be sent to the rep that takes care of Brazil, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go. So there's a lot to think. All your booth information is here. All your profile information is here. You don't have to do anything. Everything is going to be here without you having to do anything. The only thing we are including a new area for scholarships, because usually universities have specific scholarships, but you can enter your scholarships. You can enter how many seats, the requirements, and scholarships are, in a way, very good is a strategy, because scholarships are not discounts. Discounts, when you offer to everyone. Scholarships, you choose who you give it to, right? So, and if you ask a rich student, do you want scholarship? Is going to say, yes, I do. Everybody wants scholarship. Everyone's, right? And scholarships can be 10% tuition, 20%, whatever you like. So I'm going to go, there's a lot of things in the app, but you can have an idea of how this is going to look in your end. And this is how it's going to look in the student end, right? Basically, it's imagine Instagram. That's it. It's very similar, but it's completely for education, right? And the university the university has, this is the student side, right? So the home page. So students will see all the posts, can see comments, they can share with our other friends on social network, your post, your communication, just like this. Of course, just like any other social network, the nicer your post, the nicer your picture, the more people stop at, right? And they can, click and see more information about you. And the app, how the app is going to help students. Why do we think they will like this? Number one, it's free. Number two, it's a continuation of the events, right? And they can reach out to more universities, not only the universities they see in their events. If they like, all the universities that they network with during the event, they have they have access to all the information. They don't need to do anything. You can have access to that, students. You don't have to do anything. But students can, the app is going to be constantly showing students, recommending students. This, like for you, are all the ones that match the most with them. So again, we are trying to solve a problem. What's up? We are making the students' lives easier by saving them time. So they are going to be always seeing the universities. They're going to be suggested. Universities offer what they want, right? And how is this good for universities? Yes, because it increases the chance to convert. And of course, they can see the ones they are following. Again, here will be all the universities they networked with during an event, all going to be here. They won't lose them. All the brochures are going to be here, all the videos, all the information, everything that you provide us with, it's going to be here, and you won't have to do anything. We are going to get that from the database where you have already entered, and the students will be able to apply, and they can follow the ones that they have. They can see the ones that they are applying here, right? So again, I'm gonna go. Oops, it's very large here, but basically it's just oops. You see, again, they can make appointments. Let's say the student after the fair, 3 hours is over, but they talk to parents, and then a week later, they want to talk to you again. So they can make an appointment, they can choose a date, and you will get a notification. Of course, you'll be able to set accept all or don't accept all. You want to accept one by one. Fine. And one more piece of information here, guys, I'm running out of my time, is that this is beta, right? We're going to be collecting information, right, from everyone, so we can keep improving. And we already know what we want to do, right? So here's an example of student talking to a representative, and through the app. So they make the appointment, and the app will give push notification. Hey, you have a meeting. Remember, you have a meeting with the University of Colorado, whatever. So, and then they attend. That you have a push, and then you guys can continue talking. Yeah, a year after the event, if necessary. Again, we are trying to be useful here, useful for students and useful for universities, right? That's why we bring these solutions, right? Anyway, let me see. Yeah, I don't have much time, but you got an idea, right? So when is the app coming? The app's coming soon, right? My expectation is by end of April, and it's going to be a transition. In the beginning, it's going to be difficult because we need to tell students, hey, come here, you have an account here, university have an account, and then slowly get started. But we are going to do our best to get this done, to launch it by April, hopefully. But if not, please forgive me, because technology is very challenging, and this is a huge thing. And the last but not least, right, what I wanted to show you, why I still have 5 minutes, okay? Something else that we universities have been asking, and they say, okay, let's do that. So people really like our platform. I love your platform. Your platform is super easy, but can I take my booth and all the information, because I don't want to, everything is already there. So now we are working on allowing universities to carry their virtual booth anywhere. Anywhere where? Well, let's suppose you say, oh, I want to attend an in-person event. Okay, you attend, and instead of taking all your brochures and everything, you can take your virtual booth. And how does that work? I don't understand. Okay, I'll explain. So there will be a QR code. You put the QR code on your table, and students come. They see the QR code, boom, they click, they enter their name and some information for you, because that's saved for you in your hub later on. And the student can take all your brochures. So even though you're not working with FPP, but we want to help the planet, right? And deduct your costs, even though you are not working with us, if you decide to go to an in-person event, but we want to help, right? The other thing, you can take your virtual booth to your social network. You can take your virtual booth to a digital space. You can take your virtual booth on every single brochure you have. So you want to print brochure, okay, put your virtual booth there. How? Stick the QR code there, and that's all it takes. And then the student will have your virtual booth on their phone. Stick your virtual booth on a flyer. Easy. same way. And we, this solution, this technology that we are building, everything we do, we are a tech company, so we don't ask anybody to do things. So we do our own things, right? All the investment we're doing, and now for this, we are going to add more features to the virtual booth, and and I prefer not to say that now, but it's going to be extremely cool, right? And let me see. Tips for choosing your virtual. This was something I think Sebastian was going to. Do you want to talk about this, Sebastian, or do you want me to go very quickly on this?
I can cover that, but being conscious about time, maybe we should allow some time for Q&A. But basically, when you cover your virtual recruitment solutions, there's mainly two things that you need to consider. One is the experience of the organizer, because there are many. This has been a new challenge for many people, and they started without any experience. So the experience does count, and also how
I can't
how
hear
it
you,
is.
Sebastian.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you, Sebastian. I can hear.
And how it is promoted to students. So as Julia was saying, for example, our social medias have over 2 million users. In Facebook, over 400,000 on Instagram, and more recently we have been developing a lot our social network on YouTube. So, but being conscious about time and allowing some questions from the audience, that's what I would like to go on now. So if you have any questions, please write them down, and we'll be glad to cover them right here. So I think we've lost Julio, or he stopped sharing his camera.
It looked like his screen had froze. I think his internet may have gone down. So, the first question from... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Sebastian.
So the first question from Sherry.
I don't know if you can see it or not, from Shani Pearson, who asks, the top country destinations will do well in the matching, but what about countries that are not the obvious choice as a study destination? Are they also able to indicate region, example, Europe?
Not yet. We have considered the matching to be mainly countries, but yes, we can consider including regions on that. So that's definitely a very good suggestion. As Julia was explaining, the matching is a percentage that will be composed of several components. So not the fact that, for example, you are, I'm not sure exactly in which country you are, but let's say a less known country, let's say Estonia. Not the fact that you're in Estonia will decrease the percentage a lot. There's an algorithm that will consider all the data points, and that will keep increasing. So if you coincide 100% in all the points, that's going to be 100% match. If you don't, then it's going to start decreasing. And the country, it has an importance, but it's not the biggest one, but definitely good suggestion on allowing students to choose a region rather than just a specific country.
Sabas, I'm here now. I think I lost you guys, but I'm back.
Thank you.
We
just replied the first question here. Maybe we can move to the next question that we received. And if you have any other question, please feel free to put them down, and we'll be covering them now.
Can you read the questions, please?
So the next question we have is from Erica, who asks, what is the launch date for the portable booth?
I don't have, we are working on it, and I don't have a date. I am doing my best. I love this. I really do. And I'm going to do my best. I don't know if I still need to talk to the IT team. I would love to launch this in April. I think there's a good chance. And but because if we had the portable booth just as it is, it would be ready like in 3 weeks, because we have advanced already a lot on this. But I decided to do some more stuff, right? And because of that, it makes it a lot more complicated. But I have confidence that we can do that by April.
And so still on the mobile or the portable booth, Elena asks, would there be the option to update your brochures for an event?
Yeah, Definitely. Definitely. We actually, because, when you go to your hub, you have several different booths. So you can choose, you will be able to choose which booth you want to use, right? Or you can create one from zero. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Or copy and edit, whatever you like. It's going to be easy.
Yeah, that way, for example, you will be able to have a booth for recruiting in Asia and another one for recruiting in Europe and so on.
So we have a question from Alex. So moving forward in the past COVID, what would be the percentage of FPP virtual fairs versus in-person fairs on a given year?
So is the question, is he asking how many in-person events we're going to do?
Yes. So the answer is 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. The answer is there is only one exception for some different reasons. We will do events for governments in person, right? But our idea is to get hybrid events, but only government events, because as you know, I'm not sure if you know, but we have been in the past, we have organized lots of government events like the Australian government, New Zealand government, the Canadian government,
Spain,
Ireland. Ireland, thanks, Sabas. So we've done this in the past, and for government, we will do it, but we will insist on a hybrid model, okay? And because we see the benefits for that, but we will not do an in-person event like FPP in-person event anywhere. Our events are 100% online, because we think it's the best. We don't want to do the second best.
Yeah, and definitely, if we do an in-person event for government, it will be much more smart with tools like the matching, and also much more sustainable than before. We've learned a lot through the pandemic, and it's very important to keep in-person events, if there are any, very, very sustainable.
So by government events, do you mean studying candidates?
Yes. Yeah. If the government, working with governments, it's not like we are going to do that. It's up to them, right? And many times there are tenders, and we hope, we know that several governments, they like working with us because they say we are professional, they say we are organized, they say we do what we say. But, to do all of this sometimes costs, it's more expensive. And if sometimes that may affect them choosing us. We hope not, right? But if you want to do something good, it turns out to be more expensive.
So we have another question from Shani, who was asking about if we're considering for the matching, and who mentioned they're from Norway. Will we in the future be doing sort of specialized fairs, so for visual language schools?
Yes, it's on our roadmap. How do we see the market now? We see the transition, right? People are used to COVID now, and we see countries opening borders. And so as we feel, we are in constant contact with the students. We do our best to give them what they want, like to help them. We must be useful to them. So we need to keep listening. Our marketing team are constantly doing that, having lives, YouTube stuff, this kind of thing. As we feel there is a good chance, then yes, we will do. We like segmented events. We think they're great for universities and for students. And one thing about online events is that we can do it whenever we want. Like before an in-person event, many times when we had road shows, the problem, we had to do an event on a Saturday, on a Tuesday, on a Thursday, on a Sunday, right? Because you guys cannot be so much time away. But then Saturday, the hotel is busy. There is a wedding. The other one, there is a wedding. So that was very complicated. Online, We have the convention center. We have the hotel. So we are able to do whenever we want. The best way we find it to be, we can do it.
And just to add to that, Julio, coming up in May and June, we do have particular schools. We do have a couple of more focused events. We have an Mba Fair coming up, which is actually going to be a global event. So they from Asia across to South America. So that will be a 12 or 14-hour event, just so everybody can have a chance to join. And our first STEM event coming up, which I believe is focusing just on the Latin America region, but it's still a more event. So that is sort of something that we're implementing into our events.
And also apart from that, we do have some events that are focused in regions, like only to study in Europe, only to study in Canada, only to study in the US, and so on. So focused on regions, so students can find students who know that their destination should be those ones can focus more and have a better experience at the events.
Yeah, I mean, the point is here, when we decide to put up an event, we feel that can be done, right? A segmented event, like just to study English, for instance, right? It's great for the language schools, right? But it's more expensive for us as a company because we are promoting one specific thing. So we need to take into account everything if we can do it, right? Because when we do something, we are going to do our best to do the best possible. And many times, like I told you in the beginning, we spent 3 times more of our budget. We spent $1.5 million last year on promotion. Why we do that? Because it was difficult and we had our commitment with you. So we decided, okay, we don't need that. So let's make the events good. And we are here for the long term. And why do we do this? Because we want universities to trust us, right? We need you to trust us. We need to see that we are doing the best we can. If our best turns out not to be good enough, we know then that's a problem. So that's why we, we are not perfect, but we are doing everything we can to be useful. And sometimes segmented events, if we see it's going to be, we won't be able to sell because the price is going to be too expensive. So, there are things that we take into account.
And so the final question I'm seeing is from R. McMullen. No first name, sorry. Did you say something about FPP getting carbon credits for this, which I believe would be referring to sort of what we're doing with South Pole?
Exactly.
Correct. Yeah. We already started working with this. We are very excited to be so maybe in the industry, I think we have innovated again in this industry. And again, I'm sorry if I sound like, I don't want to say we're the best. I just get carried away because I'm so proud of everything we do. But I'm sure there are other companies better than us, maybe. But when we started with this, planting a tree, that's great. And now we want to be carbon neutral, and we are working with this company called South Pole, Pole, right? And through this, we will have to, it's not much because we are already very sustainable, but we'll have to pay something to get their certificate, their international company, to get their certificate that we are carbon neutral. Our events are carbon neutral. Right? So, and we are in the process. It takes time.
Yeah. Just explain how that is done is first we calculate what's our carbon footprint. So we need a lot of data points from where we use our energy, if we own cars from the company or not, how much do we travel. So we collect all that information, and based on what's our footprint in carbon, then we're able to buy carbon credits to offset that and become definitely carbon neutral. But the first step, which is the most time consuming, is calculating, okay, how much carbon are we really generating with our business today? And that's what we want to achieve, to be 100% carbon neutral in the next few months.
Yeah, we would love to be the first company in the industry. I don't know if other people are doing that, but it doesn't matter if we're not. But that would be cool. We're doing this because it's good to be recognized. This generation now, I think all of us are worried about the future, right? But these generation students, they do care about the planet. So we just want to be useful, give them reasons to trust us. So again, and then it's cool to say, hey, come to our events because you're helping the planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one more argument.
Yeah. And talking about that, while we wait for the next question, we have already taken a few steps and a few actions into sustainability from, for example, not printing ever again business cards. We will not be having business cards. We will not be having brochures. If we meet you at NAFSA, sorry, you will not be able to take any piece of paper from our booth. We won't have it, and things like that. Recently, we had one of the universities I think in Hong Kong, that requested us to send a paper contract via mail, and we're basically planting a tree for every single page we print. So we have a tracker, and every page that we print in the whole company, we plant a tree for every page.
Yes, and for NAFSA, I mean, a virtual booth is great. We're going to take all our brochures are going to be, we give you just need a cell phone. So you scan our QR code, and then you have our material.
Mm-hmm. So I think we have more questions.
Yes, we had another. Well, Elena asked the same question. I think she must have popped away from her computer about the updating brochures for the portable booth. So the answer was yes. You can have multiple booths as well for different regions. And then the final question, I think, was Shani, just asking us to remind them of our brand with students.
Yeah. So our brand with students is the student world, and that's very important. Why we keep two different separate brands, because the students don't know FPP, and we really don't want the students to be acquainted with FPP as a brand. For students, we are the student world, and that's how they know us. So if you search us on social media as FPP, you will just find our branding for university side. For students, we are the student world, and that's actually a company we bought 4 or 5 years ago, and that was originally in the UK, and that's before that we were used to known as EduFind by students, but now the student world is our brand.
Yeah, it was 7 years ago. We acquired the company 7 years ago.
7 years.
So I think that's all the questions. Nothing else has popped up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so thank you very much. If you would like to have a copy of this, you can come to our YouTube, or you can send us an email. Thank you very much for your time. Again, I know you guys are busy and you had other things to do, and then you decided to come here and see what we had to say. So thank you very much for your time, and just count on us. We want to be useful to all of you. Okay, yeah. Goodbye.
Thank you, everybody.
For joining.